Hey guys, this is Rob from RuinWorks. I'm here to present you our releases, I guess, for all of February, since I didn't do a release for the Traveler's Highway earlier in the month. So we're going to go over the Traveler's Highway. We're also going to go over a new vehicle scene that I have created for you guys and that you guys can use on any scene you want. So first of all, here is the Traveler's Highway. 2-level scene. You can see in the top right, we have our levels layer tool open. So our ground level and our outcrop level, so kind of a second floor, this hill or this outcrop of rocks. And inside there's a bit of a cave that has some options to it as well. This is one of the scenes in my customizable scenes 2 module. We're going to start up here at the top left with area 1. All you need to do to activate any of the options on this scene is click the button beside the word. So here right now we can see the empty button is highlighted. That means there's nothing up here. If we go up and hit farm option, field shows up, and then if we hit the logging button, a logging area kind of shows up, and then there's an extra button just to the right of that which says the pines, so you can switch those on or off. The logging area automatically turns them on, but you can turn them off if you want. If you go to the farming area, it turns the pines off, but you can put them in if you so desire. Same with the empty region, you can just have the pines there as well. I will note when we do this, the walls do change, terrain walls. If we were to take them off and use our token again, there's no walls in that area, so the walls do update with it. Okay, so that's area 1 at the top. In between areas 1 and 2, area 2 is down here in the bottom left. There's a part 1 options that'll show up somewhere around here. Right now there's none, so it's not showing. If you again select the first button, we will end up having just the cart. A bit closer, so you can see the walls here with the cart. If we were to change it to the broken cart, the walls update, so the horse shadows move over. And then lastly, if we go to the burnt out one, again, the horse shadow's gone, the walls have updated. Go down to the bottom left here, area 2. So first of all, you can put on the pines. You can see the walls update with those as well. Number 2, we can put the path. And then there are some other options for area 2 here. So we could have buried bodies. Zoom in a little bit here, you can see somebody's been digging. There's a spade, and you can see below the ground there is some body of some sort. If you don't want to have bodies, that's a bit too gruesome for you, you can change that to treasure. So now instead you can see there is a treasure chest underneath. And then lastly, we have a marker, so if your players are coming here looking for buried treasure, they might be able to find this marker and know where to dig. And then you could, once they've dug it for a bit, you could show it having been dug up. Same with the buried bodies if that's what they're looking for instead. The options have a camp in here, so this works really well with the path. We can put in an abandoned camp, so somebody had been camping here previously. The active camp, where there's people camping there right now. We can have a clearing, and then we could have it empty. So if we take off the path, we can have it empty instead. That's the area 2. So now we will look at area 3, which is going to be right bottom of the curve. So the first option we put in is a cart with a traveler on it. There's also an overhead tile here, and if you step underneath it's going to be removed. And again, don't forget, you can just hover over it to see inside. Second option will be the cart, but as though it had been attacked by bandits. So now we can see the cart is damaged, the goods have been pulled out, the tarp on the top has been ripped up, a bit of blood where the driver had been. Next option is the barricades. So here we can see barricades have been set up along the road. This would go well with some of the bandit options that might have been put here. So this could be, they might be taking a toll as people are coming by. Maybe this is set up by the local government. They're actually taking a tax to use this road as they enter a city or a different region. And then lastly, we can just keep it open, empty, and allow travel through the area. Now we go to the cave options. So that's going to modify the area inside of the cave. So 1, we can add some exit stairs. Right now we're set to none, so there's no stairs there. We could change it to a cavern exit. So just kind of adds in another passageway that could lead below ground to another scene if you want. We could add more formed stairs. So like maybe there's a hidden temple or some sort of base underground. In this variation, I've also included a symbol on the floor. And then when you click the toggle magic activation button, it will turn the symbol on. So maybe there has to be a rite or something done before this door opens. Once it's done, this would show up and you can open the door. So that's the idea behind the toggle magic activation button. If you don't want to use it, these can just be some sort of inscription on the floor. Next we have camp options. Right now there's no camp. We could add a camp side, so maybe this could be the bandits, the one with the barricades on the outside. And then once we've done that, we can hit the camp lit button to light it up a bit. Just be a bit wary, but you can use them together with the exit stairs. So if you put them here, it does work. It doesn't look perfect, but it doesn't look terrible either. And then if you want to use the magic door exit, you can also use that here. Okay, and then lastly, I have this messenger, toggle body of the unfortunate messenger. So I just toggled it on. It just puts a messenger in the corner here. Still holding a scroll. Maybe he's running to the next district and got waylaid here. Still holding this scroll with information on it. And then lastly, I put a little note here. Entrances can be blocked using the open and close buttons next to each entrance. So if we go over to the cave, we can see there's an open and close button here, here, and up here to the right. So these will close the entrances to the cave system. So if we go close, you can see a wall shows up, another wall shows up, and then the third wall can be. And if you bring up a token, he can't see inside. Now if it was set to open, he'd be able to look inside the cave system a bit. Same thing over here. Can't see inside, but if we open it, now he can. I'm not going to go over the last opening, but it would function the same way. Up in the top right, we can toggle area 3 crater. So this is just a toggle on and off button. When you toggle it on, crater shows up where some giant stone has either fallen from the skies or being thrown here by some sort of giant. We have a couple of travelers on the right side of the road. We have a fallen note bearer. So you can see he's being attacked, hit by some arrows, maybe by the same bandits that might be guarding the caves here. You just toggle him on and off with the same button. And then the nobleman is just a man on a horse traveling the road. So I call it Traveler's Highway, so there should be some travelers moving on it. Okay, last bits of customization for the scene up here in the middle. This will be for the outcrop options, so that should be on the second level. So right now we just have it to regular, but if you put the tree in the cage on, we can have a tree kind of hanging out over the road, and you can see here there is a cage hanging from the branches of the tree. And this tree shadow also becomes an overhead tile on the level below. You can see they both toggle on or off. And if we take our token here, now he's on the same elevation as the tree on the top of the outcrop, he can actually move beneath the tree and he would appear to any tokens viewing him as though he were inside the cage. Maybe you want to put a player in here, maybe they get captured doing something illegal, and this is their punishment, being held in this cage for a while. And lastly, we can use some steps here just to climb up. It's kind of steep slope, but I've just put in a region that will automatically toggle your players up and down. Any token entering this area will travel down if they're on elevation 15, or travel up if they're at elevation 0. So that kind of brings us to the end of the Traveler's Highway. Hope you like it. Okay, so what I've done is I've activated a new module that I've made. I call it RuinWorks Placeables. This is where I made a few different vehicles for you guys to use for your tokens to be able to move around on, or your actors. So I'm just going to bring it out and demonstrate how I kind of set this up. So all you need to do to use the vehicles is move a character onto a vehicle, and then I have little control tokens I've kind of added on with them here. If you move those around, you can move the tokens with those vehicles. And it works the same for each. You have to check regions to see where a token is attached to a vehicle. So if you go to your regions area, you can see I have a bunch of different regions for each different vehicle here. And again, only where there's a colored area with the token attached to the vehicle. The cool thing about these is they can be placed on any scene. So I'm going to show you how you would want to use these vehicles in the future, but first I'll just run over all of them so you can see what they each do. So on the far left here, we have what I call the carriage, a little transform button if you want to get a different variation. So there's two variations, one with luggage and one without. So if we go with luggage, you can move up to the second floor. You can see luggage is tied to the roof. If you change it again, the luggage at the back and on the top of the roof disappear. Hit the transform button one more time, we can get the luggage without a horse, and then it cycles back to the start. Again, if a token were to come here, it is set as a roof. You can see to it, they can open the door, look inside like everything else, and then once they're inside, you can control it and move the token around. Once you've imported it into your world, another thing you might be able to do, if you want your players controlling the carriage, is give them control of the appropriate actor. That's another reason why I put actors with all of the vehicles so they can be assigned to other players and they can actually control them going through the scene. Here we have a barrel cart. Again, an actor to move it around. You can place a token on top of the cart and he will move with the cart now. And then if you take him off, he does not move once he's outside of the region. Transform button here, so you can put this cart anywhere you want. And then you can also have it lose its barrels and have them collapse. So maybe that's a trap, maybe that's an event that happens in your story where the barrels fall off the cart. You might not be able to hear it, but there is a bit of a sound playing when I hit the transform button. Next we have another cart. This one's the cart that I call various because it's got various different variations. If you toggle the top button, you change what's on the inside. So you have 3 variations here: a corpse cart, a farmer's potato cart, a traveler's cart. If we were to look at it with a token and you hit the bottom transform button, you can change the top of the wagon. So there's a kind of an old and torn top, one that's being pulled back a bit, and then a purple one, which I thought kind of went more thematically with the corpse cart. Probably last time I'll demonstrate it, but you put a token inside and you move the other token. The token inside moves along with it. These tokens are hidden, so if you do want your players to use them, you might have to reveal them so they can see where they are, but I hid them just so the players wouldn't actually see the tokens that you're using to move the vehicles. Okay, after that we have our Goblin War Chariot. Pretty proud of this one. There's a transform button, so there's a couple of variations here. Here we have a dire wolf, or you could have it pulled by 2 wolves, or you could have it unbridled, so not hitched up to any animal. Just below that we have what I call the Pharaoh's Chariot, just more thematically Egyptian, sort of kind of gold inlaid, what I would think might be more used in the deserts. Far right we have a straw cart, and then when you hit the transform button it gets knocked over. Beside that we have a bench cart, and then a bench cart unbridled, and then a broken one. So if you just want to have some ambiance, you're going to have to drop this on the scene. Just put a broken cart in there as though the place is a bit older. To the right of that we have, which cart is this? We have another traveler's cart, so we have it with the horse and without the horse. Again, everything moves together when you pull it around. We'll also mention, while the actors are hidden, the transform buttons are also hidden. They stay attached to the cart, but no one else will be able to see them but you. Next, we have the prisoner's cart, I believe. Yeah, so there's a prisoner's cart. You can see there's chains and benches on the inside. Transform button, the horse disappears. If you hit it again, it shows back up. This one's similar to the prisoner's one, except it is what I would call a tax cart. So maybe the government is sending out tax collectors, kind of like a Robin Hood campaign. There's a couple of chests in here, probably a couple of guards would be in there with it, making sure the gold doesn't get stolen. And again, you can transform it to add or remove the horse. Next, we have the battering ram. So you can see it's got 6 wheels along the bottom, handles where people would push. I separated it so that this battering ram was a second tile, because I wanted to be able to have it move. And I successfully got it to move back and forth as though it was striking a door. However, when I have to tie everything together to make it a prefab of sorts, if it moves, the whole prefab moves with it. So it ended up being the entire battering ram was moving back and forth, which is not what I wanted to happen. So I couldn't quite figure out how I could make it a movable vehicle in one piece. If we hit the transform button for this one, we can transform the head of the battering ram. So you can have a dragon's head, a lion's head, or just a wooden head. You can use the actor here to move it around. It's got a bit of a roof, looks like it's been damaged, there's arrows sticking into it, and scorch marks as though it's been attacked by alchemist's fire as well. Okay, and then lastly, this one isn't saved as an actor, it's saved as a tile. There's this note beside it, double click to light and snuff the fire. So if we just double click the tile, it turns it to a lit campfire or a burnt out campfire. And this one also does have overhead tiles, so you can see the camp. Overhead tiles, and once you step inside, you will reveal what's inside of the tents. So those are the placeables I came up with this time. I enjoyed doing it. I really struggled trying to figure out how to build these properly in a way that you guys would be able to use them. So I'm not sure how much more vehicles I'm going to go through, what I might make. Obviously I could make boats or rafts or something like that. So let me know what you think if you like doing this. This might be getting a bit more complicated than what I want to do for my Patreon. Kind of want to focus on making easy to use scenes. When I start doing stuff like this, it gets a bit more complicated for everybody. Previously been focusing on ease of use, so let me know how you find using these in your campaigns if this is something that you'd like to do. As a dependency for the new RuinWorks Placeables module, I've added Bailey Wakey's Mass Edit. This is the tool that allows us to create the vehicles, allow our tokens to link to the vehicles, and also a way for us to store them and then transfer them into other scenes. So the way we'd want to store these vehicles is in the right menu. You can see over here a blue button called Mass Edit Presets. All we need to do is click on that, and then we can drop any of these vehicles directly, drag and drop any of these vehicles directly into this menu. So I'm going to take over carriage. So I'm going to carry it via the actor, just because I've named the actor carriage, so it just makes it easier to do. Hit apply, so now you can see it's stored in the preset browser. And I'll also take over this camp. Unfortunately, there's no actor for the camp, so I'm going to switch to the drawing, and I'm going to store the drawing over here. Yes, I want to attach all of the items. Those items or elements are the lights, the walls, the tiles that make up the prefab. And I'm just going to name this one camp and hit apply. So it's as easy as that. If you go to the world, you can see everything you've imported. This little world button. I've only imported 2, but you could import all of them over into this browser, and then they'll be deployable on any scene. So to demonstrate that, I'll just go back to the Traveler's Highway and show you how it might work. So here we are back in the Traveler's Highway scene. Now all I have to do is drag and drop from my preset browser onto the canvas. Please note, you want to make sure that your Layers tool is not open, so close it before you drag and drop. If you drag and drop onto a specific level, then all the items from your prefab will be set to that level. So what you want to do is make sure it's closed, then it keeps all the metadata correctly. So first I'll pull out the carriage. Here you can see the carriage is being dragged and dropped on, and I can now just use it on the scenes I see fit. I could put it somewhere. You could have your players driving it along the road, and if I find that token I was using, everything seems to be working fine. Looks like a roof layer. You can see inside when you hover over it. You can go inside, and then once you're inside, if you move the carriage, you can then see that the token is also moved along with the carriage. Seems like it's working perfectly. So that's how you could easily take those vehicles from the placeables scene, drag them into the preset browser, then drag them out onto another scene where you want to use them. Same thing can be done for the camp. So I'll just clear area 1. So this is where the camp would go. Perhaps I can just drag and drop it here, go to the drawings, because there's no actor associated with this one. I move the drawing around instead, and there it looks like a pretty good camp setup on the side of the road. If I decide I don't like it there, or you want to use the field, you can move it down to the bottom right corner instead. Maybe move it a bit closer to the road, so it kind of blends in. And there you go. Now your camp is down here in the bottom of the road. You just place that in from this preset. Very easy to use, very good developed by Bailey Wiki. Got to give them a lot of credit for getting this thing developed and easily usable. Like I said before, I don't know how much of this I want to do. It does complicate things slightly. I don't find it that hard to use, but I also understand that not as many people spend so much time in Foundry as I do. So I'd rather keep things simple with buttons to change the scene around automatically. But again, let me know what you think. If adding these preset vehicles, camps, I could add other things like boats, siege towers, ballista, things like that might be useful for everybody to use along with my scenes or other scenes. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the video today. Hope you like it. I gotta go get working on the next scene, which is going to be the vertical street, as voted by you guys on Patreon. If you guys have any ideas for different shops or buildings you'd like to see inside of the vertical street scene, let me know. I'm thinking of adding a clock tower, probably a tavern of some sort, maybe a blacksmith or a bookstore. So let me know what you think, what you'd like to see in that scene, and I'll see if I can get it added. Okay, cheers everyone. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.